As you can tell, I've got what appears to be a haunted house behind me. I don't know how I got here, but let's get into this review. The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It. It's not actually called The Conjuring 3, it's called The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, but for the sake of this review, I'm going to call it The Conjuring 3. This movie follows the Warrens, as it's done for the previous two. This movie isn't directed by James Wan, it's directed by Michael Shaves, who also directed the La Llorona, The Curse of the Weeping Woman movie in the Conjuring universe, which I haven't seen, but I've heard it's a little bit better than The Nun, which I wasn't really a fan of. So this movie follows the Warrens. They're investigating a man called Arnie Johnson. Basically, he's been accused of murdering someone, and his plea is he was possessed. Hence the title, The Devil Made Me Do It. And this movie basically follows an investigation of the Warrens trying to piece together different clues which could hopefully help Arnie Johnson's case and potentially prove the existence of demons and demonic possession as an actual excuse in the courtroom. As they've said in the trailers, the court accepts the existence of God. Now it's time for them to accept the existence of the devil. So going into this movie, already I can tell it's a different sort of movie. The first two Conjuring movies were pretty straightforward. We have a family, we have an entity that's attacking this family and traumatizing them and making their lives absolute hell. You get to grow with the family, you get to basically come into their environment, see what they're like, and really get a sense of what this entity or thing is doing to them. I really found that prominent in the second Conjuring movie, which is my favorite out of all the Conjuring movies. I haven't seen all of the Conjuring movies, or the movies in the Conjuring universe. I've seen the main three, including this one, Annabelle Creation, the first Annabelle, The Nun. That's pretty much it. This movie, going into it, I had a lot of negative feedback that I read and I saw. A lot of people said that this movie was a bore. You know, I can tell that this movie wasn't directed by James Wan. It's got a different sort of feel to it, and it does show in some places. The pacing is a little off. It doesn't feel as fast-paced as some of James Wan's other films, like Saw, or the first two Conjuring movies, or even Insidious. Which isn't a bad thing. I actually did like some of the choices and some of the creative decisions in this movie. But it did feel, especially in the center, a bit slower than the first two. I actually liked the investigation side of things. I actually found the investigation getting away from the family dynamic sort of thing from the first two and going on a bit of an adventure and piecing together the clues. I wouldn't say adventure, but an investigation. I found that was a fresh sort of take. And, you know, I didn't mind it. I actually researched a little bit about the Arnie Johnson case before viewing this movie. So I was already invested sort of in what was going to happen, already knowing like what was going to happen and what was going to happen to him. But, you know, it does have its flaws. The scares aren't as effective as the first two. There are some scary moments in this film, especially from someone that isn't a demon and isn't a like a entity. They're a human, and they do provide some scary moments. There's this big sort of it's almost like it's a person, but you could count it as a creature. Every one of these movies sort of has their own like unique creature. Like the second one had the Crooked Man, which, oof, that's that still creeps me out. I like the score in this movie. The atmosphere was, it was pretty good. I felt like I was in some of these locations. Some of it you could tell was green screen. Especially there's a part in the trailer where she's about to run towards a cliff and she's like hanging from the cliff, and you can tell it's green screen, but I'll give it a pass. I actually am very surprised. I wanted to hate this movie. I really wanted to hate this movie because I'd heard so many things and so many people had said that this movie was a bore, and I gotta say, I didn't find it boring. Maybe I'm just a fan of crime investigations. I love shows like Mindhunter. I love, like investigations into serial killers and ghost investigations, like ghost hunters and all that shit. So I've always been into the investigation side of things. And yeah, I liked it. And it's kind of surprising to me because in this month and May, we've gotten 3 of the best horror movies that I've seen in the last 2 years. We've got A Quiet Place Part 2, Spiral, and The Conjuring Part 3. Or 3. And it's surprising how they're good movies. They're not the best, but it's surprising how all 3 of these movies sort of came out around the same time. I gotta say, the Warrens, great. I always like that chemistry between the Warrens in the Conjuring series. Really good. The eventual reveal of the main antagonist in this movie, it was sort of weak. Yeah, it was pretty obvious. Unlike Spiral, where I was like, I already knew what was going to happen. I didn't know the motives, and that was a surprise for me. For this, I was like, it's something. I mean, it's something, but it's not much. If you're going into this movie wanting a haunted house sort of family getting terrorized by a demon, you're not going to get that. You're going to get an investigation sort of movie that has supernatural and paranormal elements, almost like an episode of Supernatural, but a very long episode of Supernatural. If you're a fan of that show, you'll probably like this. And this movie, it does bring up a lot of questions in terms of beliefs and whether or not you think this guy is actually innocent or whether he did this stuff intentionally. Me personally, I do have some religious and spiritual beliefs. I'm still on the fence though. I don't know. You have to make that decision for yourself. And, this movie does bring up some points. It's not a court-based drama. It doesn't stay in the courtroom for too long. The trailers really do mislead you, and they sort of make you think that the whole movie is going to take place in a courtroom, but it doesn't. If you want a really good paranormal sort of courtroom-based movie, The Exorcism of Emily Rose, I would recommend that. That's a very good look at the pros and cons of performing an exorcism and what that effect can have on someone and like all the parties involved with that. That is a very good courtroom-based paranormal movie. This is an investigation sort of movie that does have paranormal elements and supernatural elements. Wasn't too much gore in this movie. The scares, not as good as the second one, but probably better than the first one. I actually think this movie is better than the first Conjuring movie, and I didn't think I would say that. My ranking for this series is probably number 1, The Conjuring 2, Number 2, Annabelle Creation. Number 3, The Conjuring 3. Number 4, The Conjuring. Number 5, Annabelle. And then number 6, The Nun. I haven't seen the other ones. Annabelle Comes Home and La Llorona, the Weeping Woman, but I gotta check those ones out. So for this movie, I'd give it a B-. So anyways guys, that's my review of The Conjuring 3. I hope they continue this series and bring new ideas. Oh, one more thing I forgot to mention. They make references to different things like Annabelle and that in this movie, and I like that. How they're still keeping the other movies alive, because this is a different director, so it was nice to see that he's making references to James Wan's previous films. They didn't spend too long on that, but it was nice. So yeah guys, hope you like my review. Click the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. This is my first time really using a blue screen. I'm not actually in a haunted house. It's just that's just some cinema magic for you. But yeah, hopefully this turned out pretty well. Yeah. Anyways guys, I'll catch you later. Peace.